She's not my daughter. Look at her, sneaking into my home like a penniless stray just to beg for a place at our Thanksgiving table. A low-level logistics grunt doesn't belong among successful people. My mother's piercing, hateful voice shattered the warm atmosphere of the grand dining room. 68 guests, including city officials, country club elites, and our entire snobbish extended family, froze mid-toast. The clinking of crystal glasses stopped instantly. Every single eye locked onto me with harsh judgment. My mother, Beatrice Vance, stood at the head of the long dining table, draped in expensive diamonds. Right next to her sat my older brother, Logan, who smirked arrogantly while swirling a glass of vintage wine that my secret funds had paid for. I stood near the entryway, wearing my sharp, immaculate Marine Corps dress blues. I had literally just stepped off a military flight after a harrowing 12-month logistics deployment in a volatile zone. I hadn't even had time to see my own apartment. "Mom, please don't do this," I whispered, the agonizing emotional pain cutting straight to my chest. "You explicitly invited me to Thanksgiving dinner. I haven't seen you in a year. I invited you out of pity, but showing up in that cheap uniform to make a scene is the final straw," Beatrice shouted, ensuring every guest could hear her. "Logan just landed a multi-million-dollar shipping contract for the family firm, while you pass out crates in the mud for pennies. You're an absolute embarrassment to the Vance name. Get out of my house, Samantha, before I call the police to drag you out." Whispers instantly rippled across the room. Did Beatrice really disown her daughter at Thanksgiving? Well, Logan is the one running the empire. A basic grunt just ruins the family image. How deeply humiliating. Logan tossed a heavy ring of house keys onto the table. "You heard her, failure. Go back to the trenches. Real adults are trying to celebrate true success here." Tears stung my eyes, but years of brutal Marine discipline forced my spine straight. I refused to let them see me cry. I turned on my heel and walked out into the freezing November night, the heavy front doors slamming behind me. But my toxic family wasn't done yet. The moment my boots hit the cold pavement of the driveway, my phone vibrated violently. It was a text from Logan. "By the way, failure. Mom just signed over the legal titles of grandfather's lakefront estate entirely to my name. Your inheritance is officially gone. Don't bother going back to your apartment tonight either. The corporate lease is under my company, and the locks have already been changed. Your junk is on the street." My jaw dropped. Before I could even process the stolen apartment, a second emergency notification flashed from my military credit union. Alert: high priority defense credit line frozen. Joint authorized user. Beatrice Vance has withdrawn $85,000 for emergency corporate liquidity. My mother had just completely wiped out my operational deployment savings, the hazardous duty pay I earned risking my life. They were erasing my life in real time. They thought I was a helpless target. They genuinely believed I was just a low-level clerk, because I never bragged about my rank. But their supreme arrogance was a fatal mistake. They called me a penniless embarrassment. They thought Logan's shipping empire was a self-made miracle. They had absolutely no clue that the only reason Logan wasn't wearing a federal prison jumpsuit was because of the very sister they just threw out in the cold. 1 year ago, Logan had illegally intercepted and mismanaged high-security shipping lines, leading to a massive federal investigation and imminent corporate bankruptcy. My mother had crawled to me, weeping hysterically on the phone. "Samantha, please. If Logan goes to jail, the family name is dead. You have that deep military clearance and trust fund. You have to save your brother." Because I valued family honor, I stepped in. I didn't just lend them money. As a Marine Corps major working deep within advanced logistics and strategic fleet intelligence, I used my security clearance, my grandfather's defense legacy funds, and my tactical positioning to privately buy out their toxic debts through a secure military holding firm. I became the secret 100% legal owner of the Vance Shipping Group. I hid my identity behind an anonymous defense LLC, just to protect Logan's fragile, useless pride. And this was my reward. They stole my inheritance, locked me out of my home, drained my bank account, and called me a loser in front of 68 people. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. It was a link sent by a fellow officer. My mother had just posted a public status online for our entire hometown to see. Tonight, my ungrateful daughter Samantha tried to violently extort money from her brother Logan at our family Thanksgiving dinner. We have officially disowned this fraud. Beware of her lies. The local community comments were already piling up, instantly threatening my career and reputation. In that exact split second, the heartbreak inside me died. It was replaced by a cold, lethal, razor-sharp military focus. They wanted to wage a war against a Marine major? They just cleared a path for a battleship. I looked up toward the edge of the long driveway. Sitting quietly under the dim streetlights was a heavy, matte black government vehicle with tinted windows. The engine was purring. I noticed a rigid, sharp-looking driver watching me from the front seat, speaking into a secure radio. Someone incredibly high-level had been monitoring my arrival tonight. I didn't know who sent them yet, but it was time to activate my counter-strategy. I dialed my military legal advocate, Marcus. They just forged the estate deeds, wiped the defense credit line, and launched a public smear campaign. Execute the immediate asset forfeiture. Liquidate the shipping firm. Now. With pleasure, Major, Marcus replied coldly. We are already moving. 10 minutes later, I slammed the heavy double doors of the dining hall wide open. I marched right down the center aisle, the heavy clicks of my combat boots echoing like gunshots in the sudden silence. The moment Beatrice saw me, she slammed her wine glass down, her face twisting in rage. Are you deaf, Samantha? I told you to get out. Someone call security and drag this pathetic liar out of my house. Logan laughed loudly, looking at the city officials. Look at her, she's completely desperate. Hey Samantha, hope you like sleeping on the sidewalk because you don't have a single penny left to your name. The 68 guests watched in tense silence, murmuring loudly about the extortionist grunt. I didn't flinch. I'm not leaving, Mom, I said, my voice cutting through the room with absolute, chilling authority. But Logan, you might want to check your corporate bank accounts. Right now. What are you talking about, you worthless? Logan started, but suddenly his chief financial officer rushed into the dining room, holding a tablet. His face was completely pale, and he was sweating profusely. He looked directly at Logan, his voice cracking. Logan, we have a catastrophic emergency. All our commercial vessels have been boarded by federal agents. The bank says the entire Vance Shipping Group has been seized under a military asset default. It's not a mistake, a loud booming voice roared from the front entrance, instantly freezing the room. Everyone spun around. Walking into the dining hall was a towering, battle-hardened figure. He was wearing an immaculate, crisp Marine Corps dress uniform, his chest completely covered in rows of legendary combat medals. On his shoulders gleamed the undeniable, massive stars of a high-ranking Marine general. It was Major General Thomas Vance, my grandfather's brother and the absolute head of our family's defense trust. The 68 guests instantly gasped. Multiple city officials and business owners in the crowd stood straight up, their faces turning white with absolute terror. My mother staggered back, trying to force a fake, trembling smile. Uncle Thomas. Sir. What a surprising honor. This is just a minor family misunderstanding. Silence, Beatrice. General Thomas barked. The sheer power of his voice made the crystal chandelier vibrate. The general marched right past her, stopped directly in front of me, and brought his hand up to his brow in a flawless, razor-sharp salute. Major Samantha Vance, General Thomas announced loudly, ensuring every single person in the room heard every syllable. On behalf of the United States Marine Corps and the Department of Defense, I want to personally thank you for your extraordinary valor. The logistics network you built overseas saved an entire frontline division this year. You are a decorated hero, and this family legacy will not be stolen by greedy parasites. The room erupted into a wave of horrified gasps. A major. She saved a frontline division. Oh my God, Beatrice lied to us. They completely stole her money. Marcus, my legal advocate, stepped up right behind the general, opening a heavy briefcase and tossing a stack of certified federal documents directly onto the table in front of Logan's city investors. Beatrice Vance, Marcus stated clearly, 1 year ago, your company faced total federal liquidation due to Logan's criminal mismanagement. The entity that bought the company out, Vance Defense Logistics LLC, is 100% owned and funded by Major Samantha Vance's combat salary. Because you and Logan committed grand larceny tonight by forging property titles and draining a protected defense line, your corporate indemnity is permanently void. Marcus turned to the investors and city officials. As of 10 minutes ago, the liquidation protocol is active. The Vance Shipping Group is officially dissolved, and Logan Vance is under active federal arrest warrant for financial fraud. No. Mom, do something. Logan screamed, collapsing into his chair, clutching his head as his entire fake wealthy lifestyle, career, and future turned to ash in front of the city's elite. Within seconds, 2 federal agents stepped into the room, slapping handcuffs on his wrists and dragging him out kicking and screaming. My mother dropped to her knees, crying hysterically, reaching out toward my pristine uniform. Samantha, sweetie, please, we are your family. Your brother's life is ruined. We will lose everything. Please tell them it's a mistake. I walked up to the head of the table, looking down at my weeping mother. The agonizing pain that had crushed my heart for years was entirely gone. In its place was a beautiful, unyielding wall of self-respect. You told 68 people I wasn't your daughter, Mom, I said, my voice icy calm and incredibly powerful. You told everyone my service was an embarrassment. I looked around the grand room. The truth is, my uniform paid for your luxury, your business, and your status. But tonight, I am taking it all back. You have 24 hours to pack your trash bags and get out of my grandfather's estate. Don't ever call me family again. Beatrice wept openly into her hands, completely ruined. The 68 guests began running for the exits, completely abandoning the fraudulent Vance family to avoid federal association. Within minutes, the grand mansion was completely empty. General Thomas smiled proudly, lowering his salute. Excellent discipline, Major. Your transport is waiting. Let's get you back to the command where true honor is respected. Thank you, sir, I replied, stepping out into the cool night air, leaving the tears and shattered egos behind. I spent my entire life destroying my own boundaries to buy the love of a family that only valued greed and status. But as I watched the tail lights of the federal vehicles disappear down the driveway, I finally understood the ultimate lesson. You can never cure a toxic family with your own sacrifice. True honor means knowing your worth, drawing an unbreakable line, and letting karma handle the rest.